stump bucket, but what I can do is with the TH35 tilt attachment, tilt the bucket about 25 degrees. The scale goes to 22, but you can tilt past the last indicator to, I'm guessing, about 25 degrees. And this really allows you to dig on either side of the stump with the far outside edge of the bucket. So it's sort of like a stump bucket then. I don't think you can get the same amount of torque, and obviously you're way off on the sides, on the arms, but basically by tilting the bucket left and right and attacking each side of the stump little by little, I'm able to rip the roots out of each side and be able to tip over this stump. Get a much better view here, me tilting the bucket to its extreme angles left and right, and really trying to go at the corner. I think the thing that is a bit challenging is you cannot see the end of the bucket. So you're a little blind. I'm sure with more experience you get used to how far out the edge is and where the edge is, and so you can work it. I'm actually trying to lift it up higher and look underneath to make sure I'm getting the corner of the bucket right at the stump, and it's really helping quite a bit. Earth and smoothing out this top work area, I am still leaning backwards quite a bit, so I'm still a bit hesitant to push at the very top of the trunk of the tree, and preferring to work it like a stump bucket and go at the roots. If the previous SVL 75-2 would just flip this out. I've heard rumors that the lifting force seems to be weaker on the new ones, but I'll bet an SVL 97 would just knock that right out. But I just didn't want to maintain something that big, and this 75-3 has a lot of nice features. Sometimes the skid steer is, underneath the stump and lifting up, and it just seems like it ought to be able to rip it right out of there, and it just doesn't go. I don't know if the SVL 75.3 is that much weaker, or I just don't recognize how hard these stumps are in. Flat, level ground, this would be just so much easier, but the fact that I'm working up a hill in a narrow space just really makes it difficult to get this done. It's really hard to tell, but each time I'm digging in there and rocking back, you know, it feels like I'm going to do a backward somersault. So I'm trying not to be too aggressive and just, you know, try and really cut this thing loose. The other thing you can't really tell is that when I'm trying to push forward, the soil is so powdery that the treads just spin in place. So the other thing is, you know, I mean, the treads really aren't getting a grip on the ground because of the soil conditions. Some trees just seem to come out so easy, and others just dig in and they really hold on. I have really cut through a lot of these roots, and this thing just doesn't want to come loose. Now 5:20. lot of work. Unbelievable. Now, I can finally start to cut the easy stuff. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Look at how much earth I had to build up. Unbelievable. Whew. Man, oh man. Much better. So again, my platform at the top is just a little too small. So I can turn to the right and safely go after that stumps heading down that angle. I still feel very nervous about how the cab is starting to lean over to one side. And again, why I didn't film the inclinometers to show the angle, I don't know. But I was looking at the numbers, and tilting 15 degrees or more felt pretty dangerous to me. Soil is also really powdery. It's a bit hard to tell from that picture. Maybe you can see from the tracks there, but every time I'm dumping and pouring, but then turning in place, it just keeps digging me a hole and piling up the soil in the middle, which then makes it even more nerve-wracking and tilts the skid steer when I roll over a hump. It's a challenge. Too, it is very narrow. That pine tree that I just passed on the right hand side literally is like 3 inches from the edge of the bucket. It is very close. So I don't have a lot of room left and right to maneuver. like such a big area that's just nice and flat and level up there. Boy, it's not. It's small and it's still very sloped. Actually make the top there a little flatter by taking more of the uphill side out. There's no trees there, there's only some scrub brush. So if I can dig that out a little bit and bring it down just a little bit, I should be able to flatten this area out. Again, without the tilt attachment, I'm sure a really good operator could do this without the tilt attachment, but I don't know how I would have. It would have taken me days more. I'm starting to notch out the side of the hill, so it is starting to get me a much safer location to take the skid steer and make that 90-degree turn to the right. So we're getting there, little by little. If anybody's got a better recommendation for how to hold the iPhone to film stuff like this, let me know. I'm just using the typical car or truck iPhone holder that you'd use on your windshield. I'm just using it on the windshield of the skid steer and hanging it upside down. Most of the time it holds it okay, but it probably really isn't meant for this amount of vibration. better and I'm getting more comfortable with the tilt attachment, but just keep in mind I now have about 60 hours on the machine, and I've only used, my friends and the rentals maybe another 30 or 40 hours. So my total experience with using a skid steer is 100 hours, and that includes driving up and down the mountain. So I wouldn't be surprised if 10 or 15% of my time is just driving. I have learned today is clearly preparing the work area frequently can take more time than actually doing the work. Today I spent more time hauling earth and cutting out space to do work from safely than actually digging out stumps. I guess I should still feel lucky I get to do this, but boy, sometimes it's very frustrating when you don't have the experience that a lot of other people do. I'll get experience, but it's taken me a while. See, I'm really close to that pine tree on the right, and I don't want to take any soil away from that right hand side because I don't want to impact the roots of that tree. So I am doing everything I can to take soil from the left hand side with a real steep angle on the tilt attachment, and only take dirt and earth from the left hand side, and maybe even add just a teeny bit onto the right hand side, to protect those trees' roots. doing a little grading each time as I go back and forth and get more earth for that platform that I'm working from. I think the grading along here is mostly good. I'm going to have to wait for some rainstorms. We've been in a drought, so I don't know how much erosion I'm going to have along this. But once I do have erosion, then the tilt attachment will be nice. I can just come in and dig out a little drainage gully on the left or right hand side, and should be good to go. Well, how far did I get? Well, that tree that I said that was going to be the big problem taking the turn was a gigantic problem. I had to fill in, probably took me well over an hour and a half to bring in enough soil to level this out so that it was safe. I mean, I felt like I was going to roll over backwards, and I just measured it. There's still 138 feet left to go. So we literally finished about 50 feet from the time we started till now. So I'll do the feet per hour calculation, but it basically, I'm doing about 20 feet an hour, not counting for filling in the dirt. So out of 3 hours, really got 50 feet done because I had to haul so much dirt. And you got to include that because you never know. But if I had had a stump bucket, easy for me to say, a stump bucket, I might have been able to dig that out faster, but the problem would be to level and bring in dirt to be able to get at it. So again, I was digging from downhill. That's a nightmare. So then I had to, get more soil so that I could be closer to level and not be worried about tipping over. This is going to take a while. Now, this was the hard part. I now need to make this just a little bit bigger so I can come at this a little more safely. And this tree, like I told you at the beginning, was the big problem. I couldn't attack it from down below because as I pushed on it, it was really leaning the skid steer back over. That's not a good idea. So I had to bring in a lot of soil to try and build up a flat area or flatter area that I could attack it. Then I could tilt the bucket, as you saw, and attack the roots. Hopefully some of that video worked. Attack the roots on both sides and finally get it out. So basically got 50 feet in 3 hours, give or take. I'll have to look at the timestamps and confirm that calculation. So I probably have 2 or 3 more days to finish. Most of the rest of this should be easier, so hopefully it'll go faster. But wow, this section here was a lot harder than I thought. And really the first 30 feet went pretty fast. It was up to here that was really slow. So this soil is like powder. I'd put it up here, I'd turn, it would just make a hole. Man, this project was something. But I probably have 3 more days before I can finish the remaining 138 feet, which should go easier, except for that last real big one. So, wow, it's 6 o'clock. Got to take the skid steer back, fill her up with diesel, pack up. So it's probably time to head for home. Anyways, we're still learning. I hope you're enjoying learning with me. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I don't own a stump bucket, so I couldn't use a stump bucket to get at it. And if I did have one, I would have been constantly switching because I would have needed to haul in more soil as I brought soil in because this thing was spinning in it. And I was constantly refinishing the soil, then attacking the stump, refinishing the soil, attacking the stump. And so a stump bucket actually would have slowed me down because I'd have to be switching between the bucket and the stump bucket. So anyways, we're making progress. Thanks for watching. Talk to you in the comments. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.